Yes, ma'am.
Vice Mayor Jarman.
Yes, ma'am.
Councilman Casto.
Yes, ma'am.
Councilmember Coburn.
Here.
Mayor Teddemer.
Yes, ma'am. Today's invocation is led by Pastor Raymond Duval from Beachside Fellowship Church. Please stand.
Let's pray. Father, we come to you tonight because we know that you have a plan and purpose for Panama City Beach that's beyond our ability to totally imagine, but we also know that you're the source of all wisdom. So tonight I ask that you would grant wisdom to our council members, our mayor, and to all the residents that are here tonight, that you would be the one that would lead and guide, and Father, that the peace of God that passes all understanding would rule and reign here. Father, I thank you that your plans and purposes for our community are truly amazing and wonderful. We thank you for bringing us through a challenging year. And Father, even as we inaugurate this year, we thank you, Lord, that it'll be the best year for the beach ever. I thank you, Lord God, for your blessing on all those who work for the city, for our first responders, Lord. And I thank you for blessing every family, every business, and every person, every resident of Panama City Beach. Tonight, Lord God, lead us and guide us into the truth. And once again, grant us peace. In Jesus' name,
Amen.
amen.
Amen. Councilman Register will lead us in the pledge.
Please join me in the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America
And to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Now, I was informed that there is apparently some college football on tonight. It starts at 6:30, 6:02. So let's see how well we can do. Next up is community announcements. We'll keep this short. The city offices will be closed on Monday, January 20th, in observance of Martin Luther King holiday. On Thursday, the 23rd at 9 a.m. is our next city council meeting here at City Hall. And then at Saturday, January 25th, there is the Luau 5K, 10K, 15K, and half marathon at Frank Brown Park. Okay, and then now we're going to approve the meeting minutes.
Motion to approve?
Second.
Ms. Fazzoni?
Councilman Register.
Yes, ma'am.
Vice Mayor Jarman.
Yes, ma'am.
Councilman Casto.
Yes, ma'am.
Councilmember Coburn.
Yes.
Mayor Teddemer.
Yes, ma'am. Okay, now we're at the approval of agenda with additions or deletions. Anyone like to add anything to the agenda?
Motion to approve? Second.
Ms. Fazzoni?
Councilman Register.
Yes, ma'am.
Vice Mayor Jarman.
Yes, ma'am.
Councilman Casto.
Yes, ma'am.
Councilmember Coburn.
Yes.
Mayor Teddemer.
Yes, ma'am. Now we're on to public comment on the consent and or non-agenda business. Please come up, state your name. You have 3 minutes. And, keep it, just some advice, keep it polite. We're all here to work together. All right, come on up.
Morning, everyone. Scott Holland, 137 Johnson Bayou Drive. 3 meetings ago, prior to the vote on the water meter changeout, I questioned the cost of the project. It was never made clear how much this was going to cost. When I tried to ask further questions and follow-up, I was not allowed to ask any more questions. I was told that there were no more. Wasn't allowed to ask more than once. That's not true. You can come up to this podium more than once to speak. 2 meetings ago, I attempted to find out more on the cost analysis. Mr. Whitman stated that the cost for that meter changeout would be around $2 million. However, since then, I've received notice that the actual cost right now that's budgeted is $6.5 million. How do we have such a significant expenditure without disclosing the true cost? Why am I the only one questioning this cost? Isn't this your job? Mr. Whitman's statement of cost was off by 250%. He was off by $4.5 million. That's a lot of money. This level of discrepancy is deeply suspicious, especially considering that the mayor was blocking me from asking questions about these oddities. According to the city's government email, the break-even point for this, which Mr. Whitman thought this was still a savings for us, was 25 years, and that allowed for and that was on a 15-year lifespan of this project and the lifespan of these water meters. Besides that cost, there's also a $50,000 a year cost for infrastructure. There's another $8,000 a year cost to use this app. There's a 3% annual increase. Over the 25-year cycle, this is going to be close to a $10 million project, and it was billed as a $2 million project that we voted on. Who financially benefited from this project? Because the homeowners didn't, the city didn't. And the only person obstructing transparency in this apparently was the mayor, and I'm sorry to say that, though. But if you didn't find, if there was no financial benefit, then is this incompetency? And this is a total disregard for your duties. You silenced questions that could have saved the city $10 million. This was not a $2 million project. We, the people, are taxed when we earn, we're taxed when we spend, and we tax when we die. All because government, including all of you, find it all too easy to waste other people's money. At best, this is incompetence. At worst, someone profited from this. Which was it? We need answers on this. This is a copy of the email chain, and this is the cost of $6.5 million. It's not $2 million. Is somebody going to speak on that tonight? Will somebody? Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Hellman. Next up.
Hey, good evening. Hello again. I'm Anthony Angelo from Bahama Beach. I'm here to give the report on the broader Bahama Beach and PCB community on LSV parking improvements at Access 44 and 50 in accordance with the CRA goals. Tonight, a number of us here are gathered. We respectfully request that the council will make a motion to rescind their vote on October 10th, 2024 on this issue. We hope that you'll hear our support and will commit to implementing and delivering on our plan. Our plan is limited LSV only parking on the north shoulder of Oleander Drive. On the public land, we propose a limited iteration of 5 clusters of 6 spots per cluster for LSV parking, and we'd like to get a commitment to keep the current LSV parking conditions at the beach accesses down there. This plan is a broader Bahama Beach approved plan for the community. It solves several issues and concerns that we've heard from the broader community in the 3 meetings that we've held in the last few months. This plan addresses safety because this plan puts people in close proximity to the accesses and limits foot traffic on the road. We have an aging population here in Panama City Beach. There are elderly people, people with disabilities, young families, families with young children that would benefit from this close access proximity parking. It's in line with the CRA goals. The resolution number 24-179 that was approved on the September 12th meeting specifically states that one of the main goals is enhanced beach access and related parking. This plan supports that goal, is supported by that goal, and this plan accommodates drainage. It's in line with the needs of the Oleander residents in their street for their drainage. It accommodates that. The actual original 125 space plan would have been in line with the drainage. It would have been to work it in. It's even better with just the 30, as we've heard from Mr. Passmore on the August 22nd council meeting. And this plan is in line with our brand. This is PCB, Public Beach. We're PCB Real Fun Beach. Well, it's not going to be Real Fun Beach if you can't get to it and you can't park safely and get to the accesses that are public. Addresses traffic concerns, addresses the aesthetic look for Bahama Beach and the broader PCB community. I'm sure that when the engineers get their hand on this plan and work it out, that we'll have something much better looking down there than we have now. And again, this will eliminate the back and forth traffic from other proposed parking lots up and down the road for drop off and pickup. Nobody takes issue actually with your other plan for parking, your other location. We just want close proximity to, and a small number of them at that. This plan is a future growth plan. Okay, it's a plan for today, it's a solution for tomorrow. This plan is a plan that PCB can grow into, and it's a balanced, compromised plan. It's right down the middle, so thank you.
Thank you.
All right, thank you, Mr. Angelo. Further public comment?
I agree with Anthony.
Ma'am, come on up.
Thank you so much.
Sorry.
Yep. State.
My name is Rita Carmichael, and I live in the Bahama Beach neighborhood, and I would like to voice my support for the additional 30 LSV parking spots and keeping the current beach access parking. In light of the recent vote on October the 10th, I respectfully request the council to make a motion to rescind their vote on this issue tonight. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Carmichael.
Good evening. I agree with her. I'd like to submit these petitions of 176 signatures.
What was your name, sir?
I'm sorry, Charles Muehlbach. And I'd also like to submit a letter that was sent out to the Oleander people, and only 4 people responded. So it's all here in documentation. Can I? Who do I hand this to?
Right under there is a basket.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Hello, my name is William McDonald. I own 2 houses on Oleander, 13205 and 13207. And I am opposed to this. A while back, y'all passed an ordinance saying that you restricted the width of driveways. I have a 4-bedroom house. I can only park 2 cars there. I tried to get a permit to expand my driveway, and y'all told me I couldn't do that because you have a restriction on that. You've also got a problem with the permeable area restrictions, how much pavement that can be put out there. I'm at the low point of the street. I know it doesn't look like it. It looks flat, but it's not. I have a drainage problem now with when we have a heavy rain. The rain puddles, comes through my garage, and floods my yard. Oleander was set up as a limited access road, always has been limited access. When I've tried to park, because I don't have enough parking at my house now, when I've tried to park on Oleander, I have been threatened with tickets because you have an ordinance now that restricts any parking out there on Oleander now. So the homeowners can't park on the street because without getting a ticket for parking out there. You know, all of this, we're going to pave more road out there. We're going to reduce the permeable area. We're going to increase drainage problems, at least for me in particularly. And having all this, you've got plenty of parking up on 98 on the shoulder the way you've had it before. So I'm personally opposed to this. I don't want this at all. Thanks.
Yep. Thank you, Mr. McDonald.
Hi, Rhonda Hart. I live at 311 Lantana Street in Bahama Beach. I'm just going to read this so I make sure I get it all. I'm in complete support of our proposal for the 30 LSV parking spots. One of the reasons that we chose the house we live in was for the easy, safe LSV parking at our beautiful beach access points. Some of those have already been taken away from us without notice, but we as the Bahama Beach community want to keep the parking that we now have at accesses 47, 49, and 50, and add an additional 30 spots along the north side shoulder, not on the street, of Oleander to help spread out over the total 7 accesses there. Some of the oppositions that we've heard is not enough space to back out of the parking spots. I've measured. Oleander is the exact same width as the street that I live on. We back out of our driveway every single day. There's cars going by, there are people walking, there are people parking out on the street, and we have regular traffic. We do it every day. We love our beach, and we help take good care of it. The Bahama Beach residents are ones cleaning up after other people's garbage, and we as residents deserve to have some safe LSV parking for ourselves and our families. In light of the recent vote on this matter that took place on October 10th of '24, I request that our representative councilman make a motion to rescind here tonight. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Further public comment?
Hello, my name is Amanda Perry. I have 2 residents on Oleander Drive, 13003 and 13209. I think that I speak for the entire street that we were somewhat blindsided of any mention ever of 125 spots at any point in time. I've never received a letter until I just received one from Anthony Angelo and Christy Rowe, one for each property. I have no problem with sharing public beach access. I think everybody should have access to the beach. I do not think that our street can accommodate 30 LSV parking spots. We do flood. I know you have a plan for that in place as well. We purchased on that street specifically for the fact that it was a frontage road, that we weren't going to have the traffic that you would have on Front Beach. People walk their dogs, people walk their kids. All of this excess parking from Nix, from any place else, including the fact that Panama City is up 50% in revenue and tourism since 2020. We already have an influx of people. There's no way to guarantee that it's going to be Bahama Beach residents only, and if there is, who's going to enforce that and at what cost? We can't get emergency vehicles up and down the street. It's not wide enough. Her street may be the same width as my street. Her street doesn't have a beach right behind it, so her street's not going to have as much parking. This doesn't make for a safer environment for people to park and use a beach access. More people equal more problems. I don't want what you run into at the other end of the beach. That's why I purchased where we are. I want safe beach access. The city wants to solve it by just putting everybody onto Oleander. You have 55 public beach accesses in the city limits. Why just Oleander? Are you going to do this everywhere? That gentleman has 177 signatures. Well, I would like to ask every single golf front owner, including condo front and everything, do you want more golf cart parking right there at every beach access right next to your residence? And I bet they say no, and I bet I'd get more than 177 signatures. I don't think this has been handled fairly. I think the fact that Bidawee's losing some parking falls into a lot of what's overflowing to us, but I'm going to stick with it's not safe. We purchased those properties for a reason. You know, we take care of that street. Nobody else picks up that trash besides me on that beach and other residents of our street. So you throw more people in, like I said, we're not going to get the Bahama Beach neighbors that we love and want to share our beach with. We're going to get all of the tourists and all of the chaos, which will lower our property values, which is not what we want to do. We feel like we have the nicest street maybe in all of Panama City Beach, and I feel like if we add all this excess parking and all of this influx of people, we're just going to kind of trash it up. It's not going to be near as nice as what it is right now. So I vote that you do not rescind your vote, that we leave it as no more parking. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Perry. Further public comment?
Mr. Mayor, ladies and gentlemen of the City Council, my name is Michael Lingo. I own 114 Gardenia Street in Bahama Beach community of Panama City Beach. I'm here to support the adding of LSV parking for beach access from points 44 to 50. In 2023, we lost some 10 LSV parking spots at access 47, and with the planned widening project for Front Beach, our ability to access and enjoy the beach is going to be extremely limited. I know you've heard from residents of Oleander in opposition to this over the past few months. I believe this impacts some 33 property owners. Rough count from Azalea Drive to Clare is somewhere around 550 property owners. This does not include the multifamily dwellings, the apartments, the rentals that are along Front Beach. Many of the residents I spoke to didn't even know this was happening, and even though it's been on the agenda before. We purchased our property for one reason and one reason only, the beach. I, like many of the residents in this area, bought to be able to access the beach, to enjoy without having to drive 10 or more miles from my house to go to the beach. The widening project will eliminate shoulder parking on Front Beach, which I understand the city manager says is illegal, but it's also been happening for as long as I can remember. The city and county piers are always full, along with Seltzer Park and St. Andrews, which is often closed due to capacity. Unless we get something besides the proposed spots where Nick's Pizza is located, I'm afraid our access to the beach is going to be severely limited. I can understand the opposition of the Oleander property owners. However, these spots can also be used by them, built and maintained by the city. Most of those lots have limited parking and already can't support the parking for the people staying there. I support LSV parking however we can get it. I would like to offer another alternative that would put no traffic on Oleander, make the retaining wall on Oleander higher, flatten out the area between the retaining wall and Front Beach Road, and install LSV parking between the sidewalk and that retaining wall. Simple fix. This would not put any traffic on the Oleander and provide Bahama Beach residents with a solution for beach access, and you could put 100 LSV parking spots along there. As you can see, there are many ways to fix a problem. You just got to want to fix a problem. Many of you that are on the council, by the time this actually happens in 4 or 5 years, probably won't even be on the council anymore. So You know, we just need to get some public record that shows that there is support from Bahama Beach. And I thank you for your time.
All right, thank you, Mr. Lingo.
Thank you.
Hello, my name is Katie Fucci, and I live in the Bahama Beach neighborhood, 503 Camellia. I would like to voice my support for the additional 30 LSV parking spaces and keep the current beach access parking. In light of the recent vote on October 10th, 2024, I respectfully request the council to make a motion to rescind the vote and issue tonight, as we did specifically purchase this property for the easy access for my children and my family.
Okay. Thank you, ma'am.
Good evening. I'm Terry Hart. I live in the Bahama Beach neighborhood, and I would like to voice my support for the additional 30 LSV parking spaces and keeping the current beach access parking. In light of the recent vote on October 10th, 2024, I respectfully request the council make a motion to rescind their vote on this issue tonight, then open it up and reconsider our request to have that parking. I think there's a lot of opportunity there. Good compromise between all the residents of allowing the public to actually access and use our public beaches safely and efficiently. Thank you.
Okay.
Good evening, Mayor, City Manager, and council members. My name is Larry Sisson, and I live at 623A Fernwood Street, Bahama Beach. We have been living here permanently since 2019, and we love Panama City Beach. We love going to the beach, and we love it that this is an LSV-friendly community. We bought an LSV soon after moving here, so we wouldn't have to cross Front Beach Road with all the beach gear and not have to try to find a parking space on the shoulder of Front Beach Road, which is very dangerous. It will be even harder to get across Front Beach Road once the 4 lanes are constructed. So this is not only a beach access issue, but it's a safety issue. I found out during our community meeting that we had this past Saturday, 4 January, that at one point the council had voted in favor of 125 LSV parking spots on the north side of Oleander, but changed the vote due to opposition from 5 or 6 of the Oleander residents that attended the next meeting. I also found out that Oleander residents were contacted about that meeting by a representative who went knocking on their doors. I'm not sure if that's true or not. The council changed their vote on the LSV parking because of a small percentage of the Oleander residents. According to Christy Rose statistical data research, which you all received in an email on 5 January, when I hope you read, 67% of those Oleander residents don't really care or are indifferent about the issue, and about 28% opposed. 2 homes supported it. In all the 33 homes that are located on Oleander, they're only occupied about 30% of the time each year. We are here permanently. Letters were mailed to each of those residents with return envelopes to make it easier for them to respond. I want to publicly thank Anthony Angelo and Christy Rowe for all their efforts on this important issue for our community, Channel 13 and Amy Diaz for covering our issue on the local news, and hopefully we'll have a positive follow-up story about how our elected leadership supports the majority of residents at Bahama Beach. And thanks to all the residents that have helped in planning this and that have been attending the meetings, especially the ones that are here tonight. Our plan is a big compromise on part of the 125 spots to the 30 spots that are strategically positioned to allow easy access to Oleander and to not interfere with the Oleander owners' driveways. We do take into account their concerns, and that's why we made such a big compromise. We certainly wanted to include them as much as we could in all our meetings. I just, raise your hand if you're here.
Hey, guy, no, address us, please.
Okay. Raise your hand if you're here to support the LSV parking.
Sir, please, that's your time. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year, Mr. Sisson.
Yes,
Yes, hi, good evening, everyone. My name is Gordon Carmen. I live in Bahama Beach, in the neighborhood on Virginia Street. And I would like to voice my support for the additional 30 LSV parking spaces and keep the current beach access parking. In light of the recent vote on October 10, 24, I respectfully request the council to make a motion to rescind their vote on this issue tonight. Thanks. Happy New Year, everybody.
Thank you. All right, guys, we've heard that same thing a few times. We get it. If you're going to come up and speak it, we understand. I appreciate you. If you're going to just say that thing, feel free to raise your hand. All right, great. Thank you all.
Good evening, Dave Aronson, 120 Fernwood Street. I just wanted to say that what we as residents of Bahama Beach propose seems more than fair. We have LSV parking will be spread out. Oleander Drive gets a makeover. The owners of Oleander rentals and residences get a property value increase. And the Bahama Beach citizens get the safety and easier accessibility to the beach that we all deserve. Thank you.
All right, thank you, sir.
I'm Brent Banks, 13217 Oleander Drive. I think everybody's missing a point here. By no means do I want golf carts parked in front of my house. Do I want people to come in and compete for those slots? I got asked by the news to talk and all that, and all that got put on the news for the hour of conversation I had with them is I was concerned about parking or backing up out of my driveway. I'm concerned about everything I love people to come to the beach. People that bought their house somewhere off the beach knew they were going to have to go to that beach. But by putting golf carts or any kind of other vehicles in front of my house, the rental company, everybody's going to compete for those slots. So that's going to increase the flow of the amount of traffic that goes up and down Oleander tenfold. People go to the beach now. We have no facilities for all of the people that go to the beach. You're going to start bringing golf carts and park them down there, bring more stuff. I pick up dirty diapers out of my yard. I pick up beer cans out of my yard. I see people lean against the wall at my Access 48 and take a dump. If the city's going to look at this, you've got to look at the big picture, guys. The parking that you're making available to them over at Nick's Pizza would need facilities there for people to go to as well. I mean, people try to go into the hotels and do that, and other people just do what they need to do. The safety issue of people renting golf carts coming on my street, I don't know what part of the country those people are. I don't know who they are, what their backgrounds are, and I've got an influx of that in front of my house every day, and somebody's going to point out that it's going to increase the value of my house. Trust me, it's not going to increase the value of my house to have that kind of parking in front of the house. And the safety things, I've got grandkids, I watch them on the beach like a hawk. Now I'm supposed to watch them in my front yard too, because I've got all these people coming in and out. Everybody on this council voted against this the last time it came up. Unanimously voted against it. And somehow, some way, some people have gone and put this group together to start coming and trying to make an issue of this again. I pay my CRA taxes. I'm not sure everybody knows about the CRA taxes. And y'all may want to explain to everybody who pays the CRA taxes. And that's the stuff that's going on in the building of that road. Thank you for your time.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Bates.
Mayor and Councilman, my name is Janet Short. I live permanently at 13001 Oleander. I'm a Bahama Beach resident. And I want to ask you not to rescind your vote. My main concern and what I have witnessed, especially since the new subsidized apartment buildings have gone in on Fernwood. We have a ton of people coming down, thank goodness, to go to the beach. They come down the public walkways, they cross Oleander. We don't need any more traffic. It's dangerous. I'm so glad we're widening the road. I think it's going to be beautiful up on the Front Beach Road. But Oleander is like a driveway, and I can barely back out now. If we have more traffic, those people are, with their children are going to be in danger. I asked you not to rescind your vote purely for safety concerns of people walking on the road with their children, walking their dogs. It's a lovely walking path, but also crossing Oleander. We have 7 public walkways in less than a mile. We have a lot of foot traffic. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Mrs. Short. All right, folks, I mean, if people want to come up and add something new to this conversation, I would encourage it, but we've had 13 comments on it so far. Please only come up if you're going to add something new to this conversation. I think we've hit the points on both sides. If not, then if you want to add some points, come up. But we've heard a lot from both sides. Okay. And remember, you guys are all Bahama Beach. We're all in this together. We're trying to figure this out. All right, go ahead.
Good evening, council members. My name is Christy Rowe. My family and I reside at 105 Fernwood Street. I'm here to request that our councilmen rescind their vote for the proposal of LSV parking on Oleander Drive. Currently, 100 spots exist on top of Oleander Drive, which brings an incredible amount of traffic down already. Requesting a reasonable 30 amount of LSV parking would ensure that you don't have the big vehicles, the big trucks, and Oleander Drive gets the revisions and the drainage issues resolved that they need resolved anyway. To those who voted no previously, I believe you're reasonable, level-headed leaders who will evaluate the facts as I present them this evening. I urge each of you to reconsider your vote, and here's why. Oleander Drive has approximately 33 homes. Only 2 are homestead and occupied by full-time residents. 17 properties are vacation rentals, and 15 are likely second homes, remaining vacant 68% of the year. That means Oleander is largely unoccupied. They should not dictate decisions that impact our broader community. As a vacation rental operator myself, I can certainly sympathize with the concerns of Oleander Drive property owners. But with the proper execution by the city and White's Towing that often monitors these kind of hotspot places, this reasonable proposal is something that could easily be implemented. 176 residents, not just property owner, residents of the Bahama Beach community signed a petition in favor of adding 30 LSV spots along Oleander. 28% of Oleander responded to our poll that we mailed out opposing the proposal. 2 property owners voted yes, while presumably the remaining 67% remained indifferent as they did not respond to mailed polls or Councilman Register's personal outreach efforts. With only a small minority opposing, doesn't this proposal align with the city's mission? While all property owners pay taxes, this does not entitle a small, vocal group of absentee property owners or vacation rental operators to dominate a public street. Shouldn't public streets serve the broader community? Why say no to such a reasonable request? Thank you.
All right. Thank you. Thank you, Ms. Rowe.
Hello. Beverly Bates, 13217 Oleander. Again, I remind you, this is my home, not a rental. I'm not sure how she would know when I'm there and when I'm not. But anyways, I do not understand the mayor and council encouraging the use of golf carts. They are dangerous. There are an average of 15,000 golf cart injuries per year in the state of Florida. Recently, A Bay County ER nurse told me that the majority of their ER visitors are from golf cart injuries. 1/3 of these injuries are children. So I would say to these golf cart owners that are concerned for safety in crossing at a designated crosswalk that they and their children are much more likely to be injured in a golf cart. We have seen golf carts flip over while navigating the steep hill on Oleander. We personally had some friends visiting PCB that were hit on a golf cart by a drunk driver, sending them all to the hospital with injuries. If this golf cart parking were allowed on Oleander, this would be a safety issue. We currently have limited visibility when pulling out of our driveway. The chances of us backing into a golf cart is high, but more importantly, the number of adults and children walking to and from their golf carts is a hazard. I acknowledge that regardless, there will be more traffic due to drop-offs. However, this is a big difference in pedestrian traffic dropped off directly at an access than in pedestrians walking all over Oleander to access their golf carts. It is jeopardizing their safety and mine too. We had to call 911 for an ambulance for my grandson a few years ago. I cannot imagine emergency vehicles trying to access our homes during dodging 35 golf carts. Can you imagine if there were a fire? Please remember that the council voted unanimously on October 10th to not allow golf cart parking on Oleander and make no change to the CRA. We were told that this council would not consider readdressing this issue unless the residents of Bahama Beach and Oleander presented a plan in agreement with both parties. There is no agreement. This should not be considered again. Thank you for your time and service to this city. I also have a letter from Milan Malkani. He owns 13007 and 13009 Oleander Drive. I'm not going to have time to read his letter, but I believe he also copied you all in on this letter. He just says he wants to say that he welcomes family and visitors of all ages to visit the beach and stay as long as the city permits by entering through any of the public access points. The beach is beautiful and should be enjoyed by all. However, because of many reasons he lists, he is completely against LSV parking on Oleander.
Okay. Thank you, Ms. Bates.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, I'm Janice Hatcher, and I ask you, please do not rescind the vote. If you do, get ready. You're setting a precedent of if we don't like something and like the way the council votes, then we get a group of people, as you see here tonight, and spend valuable time arguing on everything that they do and do not like. You've already voted. You can't afford to go back and rescind the vote. You can't. What you vote, what you do, what you say, it counts. When a decision is made, just because the mayor and the people he promised he would get all this parking for, if he got in, I mean, they're all here because of that reason. I'm here to represent Bo Singaretti, Bruce McCaplin. Bo Singaretti's property is at 13401 Oleander Drive. Bruce McCaplin is at 1299 Oleander Drive. Douglas Burnett is at 13305 Oleander Drive. Janice Hatcher at 13223 and Janice Hatcher at 13225. All of these people, I'm going to put them in the box. They have sent letters because they didn't want to mail them to these people because really they didn't know if they would get here or not. So I'm putting them in the box so that you can read them. They are totally against parking on Oleander, against parking on top of Oleander, and against parking in beach accesses. We all understand that Mr. Drew Whitman, who has he knows the legality of things. He says it's not legal to park in beach accesses. We as a city, we choose to ignore certain things. We choose to allow certain things that benefit us. We can't do that. That's not legal. And when Mr. Whitman says what he says, he knows, and then we turn around and we open them up to golf carts, what are we setting a precedence for? And what are we opening up for our city? So I ask you, please don't rescind your vote. Please acknowledge the people in Oleander are speaking out. I have people right here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 people that I have letters from Oleander that are totally against parking on Oleander. I think Mr. Drew Whitman could back me up on this. Oleander parking was never allowed because we had to get fire engines and everything down, and it was a true safety issue. Safety has not changed. I've had these houses on Oleander for a long time, and I've been right at this podium probably 90% of the meetings. I know what we stood for. So why all of a sudden is the safety of our people less important? Can now a fire engine get down the street different than it did back 9 years ago? I mean, I've been here a long time, so please do not rescind your vote.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Hatcher. Come on. 1 second.
Isn't he already been up?
1 second, sir. I think you got.
He's already been up once.
Have you already been
Yeah,
up?
and then
Oh,
what?
have-
My name
Sir,
is
I'm
Captain
sorry.
Gary
Sir, have you
Wayne
already been
Beck.
up?
I live at 2601 Beach Street. Folks, I'll change it up for you. I'm a United States Merchant Marine that showed up in 2010 to do what's right during the BP oil spill. And this council and this governing body that you see before you, imagine when you put your hand on the Constitution and Bill of Rights and swear to uphold it against all enemies, foreign and domestic. You have a government entity that shows up and takes pictures inside your bedroom window, over your privacy fence, and everything like that. Imagine you have somebody come back and they put booby traps inside of your house. You imagine then they come back and they try and take your property time and time and time again. And you find out this is our governing body and you've swore to uphold the Constitution and you find yourself in the 14th Judicial and they won't let you present evidence in your defense. They won't let you present witnesses. They throw you in a hole until you got to take and agree to what they say or they're going to melt your brain. During the meantime, I'm sitting here and I'm capable of bettering my whole planet and I can't do anything because I've got a governing body that's a criminal entity that's been covering for all the criminal acts for which I swore to defend the people against. And I have been endured some of the most evilest things. You know, I had a child predator that's still out there that stalks me to this day and brags about the fact of what he did in front of me on the computer system. You know, the little Facebook that y'all no longer have, all of a sudden did it in front of me, you know. And during the meantime, I can't get no response from the sheriff's department, you, Mayor, or anything like that. And you had a choice from the start to do what's right or what's wrong for we the Republic. And what have you done? You've turned a blind eye to everything, you know. And we got those fires going over there in California. I've had a fire suppression system since way back when, and I turned my back on the Bay County government back then because I was begging somebody to do what's right for my nation, just like I'm begging somebody to do what's right for my nation right now. And if you think I'm going to turn away from the Constitution and Bill of Rights, you know, all these people that are sitting here, you know, just grasp what I'm saying. They've stole 48 properties that I know of, and these people are on the street now, and they've had their stuff snatched away. And these people ain't got a voice, and they don't come here like I do. You know, they've tried to kill me multiple times because I come up here every time I get a chance, and I cuss y'all for everything you're worth because of what you've done to our Constitution and Bill of Rights. And has any of y'all done to do what's right or right? You know, you won't look at what's wrong. You know, the mayor of Panama City Beach can't get me in touch with the sheriff's department, you know, and I try to show y'all my energy inventions. Georgia boy, have you looked at my energy inventions?
Please address
you know?
this all.
What?
Thank you. Please address the
That's how you
council
spread
as a
it
whole.
up to take and get it, cover free tracks. You don't let nobody be held accountable for their actions. Is that not true? Yes, it is. You know, I turn my back in disrespect to you.
All right, thank you, sir. Sir, please step down. Thank you. Sir, have you already spoke?
I had somebody speak for close.
But did you already speak once tonight?
No,
Okay. All right. Yeah, that's fine.
Go ahead.
Hey, my name's Seth Glenn. I'm going to switch it up a little bit. I own the 810 Billiards and Bowling. We just opened down the road to Lake Tom Wharf. And I want to talk about the regulations on our signage. I was recently informed by code enforcement that I must reduce the signage on my windows to less than 25%, which it doesn't really make any sense. I brought a picture of the signage. It's not, you know, it's just a little bit of signage. They said if we change the red to black, then it's fine, which it just seems kind of like an arbitrary rule. It cuts into, you know, our visibility from the road, and I'm just kind of looking for some help to see if there's something we could do that would be more cohesive and work well with the businesses and still meet the aesthetics that the city's going for. I understand you don't like crazy signage all over the place. There has to be a middle ground, but something to where we can still get our visibility, maybe increase the percentage. I think it's at 25% is what can be covered per window. So increasing that percentage would be helpful, if anything.
Okay.
Thank you.
And what was your last name, sir?
Seth Glenn.
Glenn? Okay.
Seth Glenn.
Thank you, sir.
Great spot, by the way.
All right.
Go ahead.
Hi, oh Jesus, you guys will go home soon, hi. Good evening, I'm Donna Martin, and I live, not rent, I live permanently at 13407 Oleander Drive. And I have these signatures, we have over 20 signatures from residents and owners of Oleander Drive. I'm gonna put it in the record. So, you guys unanimously voted on this, we all know that, it was on October 10th, you confirmed it on November 14th. And you said that if we could come to some consensus or some, suggestions about some alternative possibilities, then you would entertain that. Of course, we have not, because the only possibility that they want is parking on Oleander Drive, and of course, we do not want that. They're gonna have parking on Front Beach Road for a long time, because according to you guys, and I just drove down Front Beach Road by 79th, and that's not even half finished down there. I mean, by the time they get to 4.3, it's gonna be 2, 3, even 4 years, and we all know that. So that parking is gonna be available for them for a long time. There's no need to even discuss Oleander Drive for that reason alone. When it is finished, they're gonna have all that parking, of course, as we know, over there. And I, for one, personally, I agree on keeping the parking at the beach accesses. It's fine for me, I mean, it's already been there. Mary, you said in one of the meetings that we should know as owners that we were, when we purchased our homes, we had a beach access next to us. Of course I know. I live right next to Beach Access 50, and since I purchased my home in 2012, literally, there has always been parking at Beach Access 50, and for many years now, there has been actual posted signs for access. So I know that, and I'm not against that at all. So, and we have also fought many years, and even with the Department of Transportation, asked for painted crosswalks for people to be able to cross safely. Because I own a house on Front Beach Road, right across from Beach Access 48. And I have asked for that because I rented that. I don't rent it all the time, but I rent it sometimes. And people are crossing with babies and everything, and I want them to cross safely. And we've been to no avail. No one will listen to us. Margaritaville got it in 2 seconds, but on our area, we can't get it. And I know that we had beach accesses, but I also know that we had no parking on Oleander Drive. And maybe I wouldn't have bought my house if I knew there was going to be parking on my little narrow, nice little street, Oleander Drive. These people they're all saying that they bought their houses because they was close to the beach access or close to the beach. Well, they knew that there was no parking on Oleander Drive when they bought their houses. And they also knew, or should have known, that the CRA was established in 2000, and eventually, there was going to be parking eliminated on Front Beach Road. So I knew my end, and they knew their end.
Okay.
I also have, I
thank
just
you.
want to put this into the
Yeah,
record too.
sounds good. Thank you, Ms.
Some
Martin.
pictures.
Yep.
Good evening. My name is Steve Stafford. I live at 202 Evergreen. First, I'd like to thank you guys for listening to all this tonight. I'd like to thank you also for meeting with me a couple weeks ago. Just by way of introduction, I have spent 35 years of my adult life as a licensed professional engineer in multiple states, solving problems for both public and private entities. So I'd like to speak to the path that is typically followed. And in that, I'd like to make a request. Typically, when there's a public problem of this nature, it's assigned to a subject matter expert, a professional engineer. I'm not asking for work here. I have plenty. My ask is that you not rescind a vote, you not commit to anything other than asking a subject matter expert to weigh in on what reasonable options are that might be agreeable to all parties involved. Not just those of us that live here now, but those of us that are coming, those of us that are gonna come, that would address all the safety and traffic flow issues that have been brought up tonight, which I won't restate. So thank you for your time, and appreciate what the work you guys do. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Stafford.
Thank you.
Hi, good evening. I've got a lot of things written, but I'm going to write.
Please state your name, sir.
My name is Alfie Martin, Alfredo Miguel Martin Tojo. I live in 13407 Oleander Drive, and I do care as a resident of Oleander. And somebody said there was no response. It was only 2 people, and the residents of Oleander don't care. Well, we collected about 16, 18 signatures from owners of Oleander, okay? And those are the ones that knew. The others don't even know. We'll get those signatures too. So I'm going to read this. In November, for October 10, the meeting of this council voted no on Oleander Drive parking, but suggested if the parties want to further discuss this amongst themselves to find or not other to find another solution or not, they would entertain those proposals. Otherwise, I'm quoting here, otherwise, the case was closed. No other solution has been agreed between us. Therefore, there is no agreement. Therefore, the vote, as you stated and you voted, is final. You cannot break your own rules. Okay? And then another thing I'm going to read here is Oleander Drive is already subject to an infernal amount of illegal noise from trucks, mufflers, blasting music, etc., etc., etc. The traffic and environmental noise laws, Mr. City Manager, are not being enforced. And I love
Alfie, please address the
Okay.
council.
I'm going to repeat it then. The traffic and environmental noise laws are not enforced, and you must enforce it. If you can't enforce dogs without leash, electric bikes on the beach, how are you going to enforce anything else? Putting golf carts there is going to be a safety problem. The other thing is, I have 44 seconds, I want to make you aware that you open a Pandora box. These people are very organized, they contact the news, they contact everybody, but they didn't talk to us. They try to impose on us. If you want to play the media game, trust me, you want to play the media game, we can play that. Open the games. This is a concerted effort to hurt the residents of Oleander. BDW, and I had my house in BDW, didn't get the parking. Now we have BDW supporting Bahama Beach. How many golf carts you have in Bahama Beach? You don't have 176. Please count. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, is there anything new, people? Yeah, you've been waiting, all right.
Mr. Mayor, he's already spoken.
Yeah, sir, have you already spoken today? Yes, I'm sorry,
Well, that's really convenient. How about
Sir,
I got their facts.
The 2 bites.
I listened.
no, sir.
I listened.
They brought up. Sir.
Oh, that's how the town's run, huh?
One,
That's it. Okay.
yep.
Hi, Molly Allen at Lowwater, and I hope you all are glad to see me. I wish I had the kind of support that Bahama Beach and Oleander has. We were fighting the outfall project. So I just want to ask a question. As our neighborhoods are growing, we're having different types of homeowners coming into our neighborhood. I do understand that there is a square footage per person allowance. And my question tonight, and just kind of follow me on this one, is some of the houses are large. When you're in the single-family home, I don't know what the R1, T1, whatever it is, on the low water circle there, is there a threshold where the number of people for the number of people? So, yeah, or is it just unlimited, the square footage?
Ma'am, please.
Unlimited, or is it like once you reach 40 people, it becomes a hotel? See where I'm getting at here?
Mhm.
Does that make sense? That's
Yeah.
my question tonight, because that's something I'm facing next door to my home. Thank you.
Thank you,
Thank you, Ms. Allen.
Hi, my name is Sherry Muehlbach, and I live in Bahama Beach. This is my first meeting. My husband has been doing everything because I work during the day and I can't come to your meetings. I'm very disappointed how Oleander residents are overlooking the fact that we pay taxes as well. It's our beach, it's their beach. Let's face it, the nicest thing we have here in Panama City Beach is our beach, right? We all moved here to use it. We want to use it. We want to use it safely. I have grandkids. When I go to the beach, I don't want to walk, 3,000 feet to get to the water because somebody says I can't park on their street. I have people during Jeep and Bike Week that flood my street, Azalea, and I can't even get out of my driveway. Well, that's my problem, right? I have to wait.
That's illegal. The police will help you.
Well, it happens, but they need to understand we all pay taxes, not just them, we all do. So I hope you will reconsider. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Millick. Okay. Further public comment, anything new to add to the discussion?
Mark Perry, 13209 Oleander. I'm asking you not to rescind your previous vote. Kind of worried about I'm not worried about the Bahama Beach people parking there. What I'm worried about is the influx of crime, such problem. The other problem is it's not going to be, the Bahama Beach people parking there. It's going to be all the spring break people, and they're going to be driving down Front Beach Road. It's like, oh, there's parking there now. So then the party becomes behind, my house, and we're picking up all the stuff, and it's chaotic. It's not these people. It's what it's going to bring to that street, which then in turn makes for more traffic. So then people can't walk their grandkids or their dogs up and down the street. There's no public restrooms there. There is some down at the pier, a half a mile down the street. But and again, most of the homes, like this gentleman over here was saying, there's a lot of homes that are low on that street, and by raising that, this is going to flood the rest of them. And so I'm just asking you to rescind that, stick by your original thing that you voted for. I mean, it's already said and done. And but my biggest thing is safety, crime, trash, real estate prices going down. They're not going to go up whenever you add those things in there. I originally came down here and bought a place in Italy and decided, I don't want to look at this traffic. So I sold that place, bought a place over in Oleander. Everybody told me it was great. You're never allowed to park on the right-hand side though. You'll get towed because that's always been no parking because it's for emergency vehicles to access the street. So that's been that way. I've had the place since 2013. So no one's ever been allowed to park. My sister was at my house one night, 2 wheels out onto the street, her car was towed. So I'm just asking you to stick with your original vote. It's not going to be the people at Bahama Beach messing with the people on Oleander Drive. It's going to be all the influx of Panama City that it takes on. It's going to see those parking spots. They're going to take them quick. They're going to take them early. And it's going to be the spring breakers, the summer rush. It's going to be those people that we're all going to have to deal with. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Quick remark to that. My name is Lisa Carmen, and I live on Petunia Street, and I'm in support of the parking for Bahama Beach. And I hear a lot of the concern was that the parking wouldn't be us, that it would be people that were spring breaking or whatever. And just a real quick solution to that would be resident parking only. We could have great big bright stickers that anybody could see, and
Yeah, you
that would
can't
solve
do
that problem.
Can't, unfortunately.
There is resident parking only in other places, so it's just an idea.
All right. I really thank everyone for participation. Drew, can you address the, some of the things that came up other
Yes.
than the Oleander stuff?
Yes, sir. I'll start off with Scott. When I talked to Scott, the first phase that the utilities director was talking about was spread out over 3 or 4 years. I don't have it in front of me. The first part of that was either $2 or $2.5 million. It will benefit the city in the long run, and it will help the app. So I think the utilities department director did a great job explaining it was a phased approach for the next 3 years, and it was broke down in his agenda packet of how much it was going to cost the city. So I believe we were very transparent on that. As far as all the parking, the ones I'll address is the drainage. When we do go through Oleander, we will fix the drainage in that area. That's part of the thing. We know there's flooding on the south side. That's going to be addressed when we come in there with the CRA project. Just for the note, for the people in this room that's never been here before, Captain Beck's comments, he does not live in our city limits. All those offenses he's referring to are in the counties about 4 miles outside our city limits. I'll get up with Molly and try to get her answers about the square footage and how many fixtures in a bathroom that qualifies how many people can live in a house. I'm aware of the house she's referring to. I don't know how many people live in there yet. They just purchased it, so I'll work with her on that. And the rest was just pros and cons for the parking on the Oleander.
I think there was also a mention of the window coverings.
Which one was that, sir?
The billiards?
Scott,
25%.
yeah, the Scott, the window covering. I think.
Oh, yeah,
Still
yeah,
more
yeah.
of us, but yeah.
That's in our code. It's 25%, and we've been getting a lot of complaints, and that's happening from one end to the other end. We're not just singling out, but that is the code right now. No more than 25% of advertising on a window.
Okay. All right. I will say, when we asked folks to find consensus, it's clear that there's not consensus right now. You know, we need to come up with some sort of solution that works for all of us. Honestly, I know Councilman Register's done a lot of work here, reaching out, attending meetings. I hate to ask him to do more work, but if, Ethan, if you'd be willing to meet with some representatives from both sides and maybe come up with a creative solution that maybe we can use for the entire CRA instead of doing these onesies, twosies.
Sure, yeah, I mean, I'm willing to definitely do that. What I'm not willing to do and kind of where, this has been a difficult situation because you got Ms. Rowe who's conducted herself, I mean, first-class individual,
Yeah.
Mr. Angelo, first class. A lot of the residents there shook my hand. I went over right before I was having my daughter's birthday party. They were so nice to me. They welcomed me. Great people, wonderful people in Bahama Beach. And they were all very kind to me and welcoming to me. Same with people on Oleander. Just to clarify a few things, I didn't knock on anybody's door and solicit anything on Oleander, just so you guys know. I didn't do that. My biggest concern is my moral compass was what it comes down to with this, is when I look at this and I go, okay, if I lived in Bahama Beach, heck yeah, I want parking. I'm thinking maybe that's a great thing, and I want you guys to have parking. I want to find a way to do that. But I think if we look at that and we put you in the other people's shoes, a lot of the people would end up on the other side of the battle. And I'm a big fan. Mr. City Manager Drew Woodman has lived here a long time. You know we're growing. He's been here, and he's seen every single phase of the growth and development of this community. And if you bring me any parcels on the south side of Front Beach Road that we can purchase and put parking lots in that are not at the detriment of other residents, I don't want to do public parking at the detriment of property value, safety, or any of those things at the detriment of other residents. I don't think the people of Bahama Beach would want that done to them, and I don't think the people of Oleander want it done to them. I did hear some things tonight. Mr. Stafford, he's also been there. Very intelligent individual and very kind, and he's got some good common sense approach. I'd love for him to be part of that. He's got an incredible amount of experience. I don't know that there's an amiable solution between both parties. I really don't. I don't know that that's there, but I'm happy to try. That's what you guys pay me for. I'm happy to be part of it. I'm happy to try to make it happen. I did hear something from a gentleman, Mr. Lingo. Is he Michael Lingo? He mentioned something about parking topside, and he mentioned something that kind of stuck out to me. He said people that want to, you got to have the attitude that you want to fix a problem, and I appreciate him saying that. So we got to figure out what that looks like. There is, I think Mr. Rose stated, there's 100 parking spots up top. I think the Oleander people have been okay with those spots up top as of right now. Potentially, I don't know. I don't know that there's a way to do that up top. I don't know. I don't think there is. But Mr. Passmore is no longer with us, correct?
That's correct.
We need to figure out what that goes from there. But as far as putting parking down on Oleander, I want to make it vehemently clear that I'm against that because it's at the detriment of other homeowners. Is there some other options to put it up top? Potentially. Is there some things that we can come to as a neighborhood? You guys are all Bahama Beach, by the way. There's one plat. It's not Oleander versus Bahama Beach. It's one plat. So once you guys have access, we need more access all up and down the entirety of Front Beach Road. So happy to do it if that's something people are interested in. If it's not, then as far as I'm concerned, I'm still with my vote not to put it down on Oleander. I'm against that.
Well, yeah, and we said, we asked for consensus before we would reconsider it.
Sure.
There's clearly not consensus here. So we need to find consensus, we need to work together. I think you had a few really good ideas there. I support anything you want to do to try and find a solution.
There's also some potential spots, maybe, possibly, I mean, I don't know that we're that far down the road in front of Casa Loma, potentially. Is there an area there that's on the south side that we could purchase to use?
There will probably be some land when we redesign the street, the line up with Lantana, we should have a little land on that side.
Yeah, I spoke to Mr. Whitman about that parcel. There is a parcel in front of Casa Loma that can be used. That gets that for LSVs on the safe side of Front Beach Road.
And I think that addresses the safety concerns of dropping people off at any access they choose and still being able to park on the south side of the road. Also, I think somebody brought up the stickers. We cannot use public dollars to only allow private parking. That's not something that's legal for us to be able to use the CRA money for. Am I correct in saying that?
At the risk of giving a lawyer answer, it depends.
Okay.
There are.
Can we make them all residential only?
Again, it depends.
Okay.
I mean, there are ways to create programs in which you can limit parking. There are ways in which you can get in legal trouble for doing that.
Right.
How you go about something and the exact way you set that program, I don't want to say yes or no right now because there's a lot of details to work out. I apologize for.
I'm just trying to figure out that Casa Loma parcel, if we could figure out a way, and maybe we'll continue to look into that.
Yeah, I just want to make sure I get with my engineers because we do have to put a lift station in that area and a couple other things. I just got to make sure there's enough land after we fulfill our obligations with our lift stations and our stormwater drainage.
Yeah, from what I was looking at, the lift station's on the other side, so we'd probably be okay.
Would this parking lot, we talk about a lot, crossing in a crosswalk, and I know, is this parking lot, when it's the way it's designed, does it cross at a turn signal or traffic signal as well?
You could walk up to the intersection at where Front Beach and Lantana time, there'll be a crosswalk there, and then our engineers will find a safe location around the curve that's offset from the intersection to keep people safe for crossing. There will not be a crosswalk at the curve itself.
Okay, perfect. That's what I was wondering. I mean, when they built Hyatt Place, which is a new hotel on Front Beach Road, there was no walkover, and that was a concern that I had, but then I met with traffic people in the studies, and all of those guests that park in the parking garage across the street cross a crosswalk at a traffic signal, and it's extremely safe, and DOT has deemed it extremely safe way to cross the road.
I mean, personally, I think that there's solutions to be had. It's just, are people willing to accept them? And on both sides, it's not going to be exactly what anyone wants. But you know, what I don't want to see happen is, you know, where you have a majority of people that make a small sub-majority do what they want. You know, the majority or tyranny of the majority. And so, and it sets a bad precedent. I mean, I understand there's a lot of people that signed a petition, and I understand their position. But, I mean, if I got more people to sign a petition to put permanent parking all around Maggie Steele Park in front of people's houses, I'm sure people would be upset about that. So I don't want to start down that road. But I'm confident, you know, if people want to have parking and have it in a safe manner, that we can figure something out.
Yeah. And, you know, there's.
Can we say, well, I think we have in the 60 spots at Nick's, correct? I mean, it's deemed a very, very safe parking lot. It's going to be lit, correct? And it's going to have a nice crosswalk at a traffic signal. Yes, it is a little more of a burden to cross the road, yes. But with that being said, it is a very, very, it's not unsafe, what we've designed now, is my understanding. So I want to make sure that, you know, safety has been addressed. We're so blessed and fortunate to have a city manager who was chief of police for how many years?
I was in law enforcement for 34 years.
I don't think he has in any shape or form at the first, any meeting I've ever been in with Mr. Whitman, and I bring up some outlandish ideas, he brings up safety first. So I think he has the best interest of our community, and he would never design or allow us to design anything or build anything in this community that wasn't deemed safe.
Yeah, nor would any of the engineers signing off on the project.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And, hey, absolutely agree, 10,000%. And thank you for all you do, and I appreciate that.
So, you know, I fully support you working to bring some ideas, see what the options are. Drew, if there's anything, you know.
I've kind of brought my ideas, but I mean, as far as Oleander parking on Oleander, I'm not, there's, that ship, I think, is
I know,
sailed.
I don't mean, you don't have to do it right now.
Okay, all right. That ship.
I don't think we're going to solve it up here
Okay.
with a giant thing. I do appreciate everyone for coming out, for caring about your community, going forward, for coming and meeting with us. There's going to be more work to be done. And we work together, we can find a solution that will address as many concerns as possible. Okay?
Mayor,
Yes, sir.
could I say a few words?
Only if you want, Paul.
Okay. I think Drew and myself are probably the two oldest city employees here, but I can tell the people in here, maybe some of you guys remember, but there's been parking on the north side of Oleander longer than there hasn't been. It's only been about the last 20 years that that parking went away, and it went away because of a safety concern. I think I talked to our old fire chief today, and he said he thought it was, in the summertime, an ambulance couldn't get down that road. But I remember when I was a teenager, I used to park on the shoulder of that road. They had parking all up and down the north side of Oleander. I would park there and get my surfboard and go down one of the public beach accesses and go surfing. So I like what the Bahama Beach people have done and come together, and we do have to find some type of compromise. And usually a compromise is when both sides go away mad, they don't get what they want. But I don't think we had 100 parking spots back 50, 60 years ago when those houses were built there, but we probably had 50 up and down that road. And a lot of people would get stuck there. But Sandy, the city built that shoulder up with gravel. I think Drew probably remembers that. And because people were getting stuck. So we had parking down there. And another thing that I heard mentioned that was incorrect, that all the people on Oleander are the ones that pay for the CRA, but that's not true, because, Mel, you correct me if you're wrong, or Drew, but in that area there, north of Front Beach Road, all the way to Middle Beach Road, those houses pay for the CRA in there. So it's not just the Oleander people paying for those improvements, it's everybody in that area there up to Middle Beach Road is paying for it. So, but I like most of what was said tonight by the civil engineer. I have a lot more questions about it. I don't want to close the door on maybe shifting that retaining wall back north a little bit, but I have a lot of questions and concerns. I think it's too early. It's going to be 3 or 4 years before any construction's done down there. So maybe for safety reasons you couldn't do it, but we're not going to go down there and add 30 spots in the next year. I don't know, maybe in 2 years, me and Mary may be gone because we're both termed out next year, or our term's over. So anyhow, nothing's going to happen quick, but there's a lot of stormwater problems down there on that Oleander Drive that could be fixed. You could get a new facelift. The road could be widened. And like Drew said, we'll probably do all that. So I just think we kind of got the cart ahead of the horse. Everybody was thinking if we didn't do it tonight, then we're not going to get it done. But there's what one council does, another council can undo. So I'm just saying, I think we're going to have to come up with some kind of compromise here. And usually both parties are not happy with what it is, but nothing's going to get done today or next year even. It's going to be 3 or 4 years before we get down there. So that's all I got to say. Ethan, have at it if you want to go try to do it.
Yeah, one thing I wanted to address, there was some comments on crosswalks. We, actually, at Councilman Register's suggestion, we decided to expedite the crosswalks
To get the flashing lights, I know we're working on that bid, so it'd be up and down the CRA to make those happen as quickly as possible, to enhance safety as quickly as possible. And I really appreciate the Councilman Register for thinking that far ahead and suggesting that for the council to do. Anything else up here on this?
I think it's all been said.
No? You sure you don't want? We got plenty of time. We already missed the kickoff. All right.
It's halftime.
Do they have TiVos anymore? Anyway, all right. Okay. All right, thank you, guys. We'll continue working on it. Next up is the consent agenda. Did anyone up here want to break for a minute?
Not really.
Not really. Let's just go through it.
Go. Are you taking a break?
No, y'all go ahead. It's fine. We're rolling. Let's go.
We're rolling? Okay.
Go ahead
Okay.
and get through it.
Well, we
Paul,
can
you
roll a
okay?
minute without you.
I'm good.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
Let's take 5 minutes.
All right. We will reconvene at 7:21. Let's start. Somebody,
Not popular anymore?
the Martin stayed. All right.
Echo.
Next up is the consent agenda. Ms. Mazzoni, I know you've been practicing this one.
Yeah.
All right.
Poor Holly.
You missed Holly's.
Yes, right. Thank you, Holly. Resolution 2547, a resolution of the City of Panama City Beach, Florida, approving the purchase of a Bobcat mini track loader from Doosan Bobcat North America, Inc., in the total amount of $43,052.84, and agreeing to be bound by the terms and conditions of the Sourcewell contract governing that purchase. Resolution 2548, a resolution of the City of Panama City Beach, Florida, approving the purchase of a hydraulic crane service body truck from Cumberland International Trucks, LLC, in the total amount of $204,650, and agreeing to be bound by the terms and conditions of the Florida Sheriff's Association contract governing that purchase. Resolution 2549, a resolution of the City of Panama City Beach, Florida, approving an agreement with M. Gay Constructors, Inc., for materials and installation of LED sports lighting for the Frank Brown Park North Ball Field Complex in the amount of $707,300.
Can I get a motion?
Motion to approve.
Second.
Ms. Mazzoni?
Councilman Register,
Yes, ma'am.
Vice Mayor Jarman,
Yes, ma'am.
Councilman Casto,
Yes, ma'am.
Councilmember Coburn,
Yes.
Mayor Teddemer.
Yes, ma'am. Next to the regular agenda. First up is item number 1, ordinance 1656. Mr. Davis.
An ordinance of the City of Panama City Beach, Florida, amending Chapter 8 of the city's Code of Ordinances related to examining board member qualifications, repealing all ordinances or parts of ordinances in conflict, providing for severability, scrivener's errors, liberal interpretation, modifications, codification, and providing for an effective date.
Okay, remind us what this is about, Mr. Davis.
So, as you requested a few months ago, what we have done is broaden the scope of those who can qualify to sit on the examining board to allow for essentially recent retirees, people who have practiced within the last 5 years. You approved this at first reading with the caveat that we add a minimum qualification of 4 years of experience in the relevant trade. And so this essentially just opens up the field for people to serve on the examining board, which we have had difficulty filling.
Okay. Any public comment? Seeing none, any discussion from the council?
Motion to approve.
Second.
Ms. Mazzoni?
Councilman Register,
Yes, ma'am.
Vice Mayor Jarman.
Yes, ma'am.
Councilman Casto,
Yes, ma'am.
Councilmember Coburn,
Yes.
Mayor Teddemer.
Yes, ma'am. Next is item 2 on the regular agenda, Resolution 2550. Mr. Davis, take it away.
A resolution of the City of Panama City Beach, Florida, clarifying that only official city social media accounts hold the authority to speak on behalf of the city.
Okay, help us understand, please.
So this is something I did on my initiative. In, I think, March, the U.S. Supreme Court issued a ruling regarding how city official accounts, social media accounts, and then in public servant social media accounts, how the First Amendment applies to those accounts and what those people can do and when do they speak for the government. The purpose of this resolution and what the Supreme Court said is, in order to speak on behalf of the government and therefore be subject to the First Amendment and its restrictions, you must actually have the authority to speak on behalf of the government. So in reading that opinion, I wanted to ask the council to clarify exactly that only city official accounts speak for the city rather than any individual department head or elected official or appointed official. So that way we can be clear with the public as to which are city accounts and which are personal accounts that are not bound by the same rules that government speech is.
Okay. And so some of those rules will be the rules we apply for any of our social media accounts, which makes it really hard to, for example, folks that are cussing out or, we have strong First Amendment protections for speech for government.
Correct, yes. So the First Amendment protects speech regardless of its content, except for very limited circumstances. And that applies to social media as well. There are different, what we call forums, traditional public forums, limited public forums. And so what we want to clarify here is that if, I'm going to pick on Drew for a minute, but if the city manager decides he wants to have his social media account and he wants to talk about city business, that doesn't mean he is speaking for the city and then subject to all of the rules that come with speaking for the city. And so what we're trying to clarify for the public is when those lines are crossed and when they are not.
But of course, anytime any of us speak about city business, we still have to keep public records.
Correct. So
Yeah.
obviously, if you decide to engage in city business on social media and you engage in a conversation with members of the public, you are creating public records, and so you do have the requirement to archive those or keep those in some way.
Okay. Any questions from the council before I open it up to public comment? Okay, any public comment? Seeing none?
Motion approved.
Second.
Ms. Vizzoni?
Councilman Register?
Yes, ma'am.
Vice Mayor Jarman?
Yes, ma'am.
Councilman Casto?
Yes, ma'am.
Councilmember Coburn?
Yes.
Mayor Tettemer?
Yes, ma'am. Next up is resolution, item 3, resolution 2551. Mr. Davis.
A resolution of the City of Panama City Beach, Florida, approving a grant agreement with the Department of Justice Office of Justice Programs for one off-road UTV for the police department in the amount of $10,128, designating the city's grant/contracts administrator as the city's authorized representative, and authorizing a budget amendment to reflect the receipt and appropriation of these funds.
Okay, is there any public comment? Nope. Chief, could you tell us about this item?
Once again, good job on the grant.
Thank you, Mayor Council. This is just going to be in addition to our all-terrain capabilities. This grant was identified by Michael, our grant writer, and we had him go for it, and did a great job writing the grant. We were approved, and we're going to purchase a two-seater UTV, which is going to help us better negotiate pedestrian traffic on the beach when we're down there, and help us with a bunch of police operations. So we're excited.
Okay, yep, so this is a grant, so thank you. Who provided the grant?
Michael, our
Michael,
grant writer.
yeah, you found it, okay, all right, great. Thank you, Chief.
All right.
Any discussion from the council?
No match required.
No match required. Michael.
Even better.
Michael does a good job.
Exactly.
Michael does a good job.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Ms. Vizzoni, please call roll.
Councilman Register?
Yes, ma'am.
Vice Mayor Jarman?
Yes, ma'am.
Councilman Casto?
Yes, ma'am.
Councilmember Coburn?
Yes.
Mayor Tettemer?
Yes, ma'am. Next up, resolution 2552. Mr. Davis.
A resolution of the City of Panama City Beach, Florida, approving change order number 11 to the city's agreement with CWR Contracting, Inc. for the construction of the Front Beach Road Segment 3 project to add $119,702.41 in 39 days for additional work and authorizing a budget amendment.
Okay, any public comment on this item? All right, Mr. Hernandez, if you could come up and help us understand what's going on with this change order for segment 3.
Good evening, Mayor, Council. Jorge Hernandez. I'm with the Corradino Group with the CRA. Good to speak with you this evening. This is consideration of Resolution 2552 for Segment 3 project corresponding to budget amendment for Change Order 11 with CWR Contracting in the amount of $119,702 and an increase of 39 days. This is due to revised plans from Dewberry, our consultant, regarding a roundabout design modification right at the intersection of 79 and Front Beach Road. We were having some issues with the larger commercial vehicles being to negotiate that roundabout. Swale stabilization and valley gutter construction at Muy Buenos. We had to repair 2 approaches due to boring damages created by WOW, which we need to still pursue that with them. And the foot and gravity wall and sidewalk modifications to underground utility conflicts at Marco's Pizza.
Okay.
For a total of the $119,702.41.
Okay. And you mentioned there was some damage due to boring, and Drew, are we pursuing that?
Yes, we are. That's what he was referred to.
Yep.
I believe I told you Live Oak, but it's WOW.
It's WOW. Okay. And why the redesign of the spillway, the traffic circle?
The traffic circle, there was some damage to the existing sidewalk and concrete surface in the roundabout, where there is design room for the larger semi-trucks and so on to be able to negotiate, but not necessarily does everyone drive on the striped surface they're supposed to stay within. So what we're going to do is, in 2 of the 3 approaches, is thicken that sidewalk to 8 inches in order to prevent subsequent and ongoing damages that would be caused by the larger vehicles. But that is the cause. There's room for the trucks to negotiate that roundabout. Not necessarily does every truck driver adhere to that.
Okay. And are you changing any of the approaches into the roundabout to encourage them to go all the way around it?
Yes, Mayor. There's going to be restriping once final lift is done in order to encourage the trucks to negotiate that circle a little better.
Okay, so just so I understand it, we're strengthening the circle, and then we're also encouraging people not to hit the circle.
Yes, Mayor.
Inside circle or outside?
Or the sidewalk.
Or the sidewalk.
They're hitting inside the inner circle.
Yeah, it's the inner, there's, and George, maybe if you can help it, because that spillway is a bit of a weird concept. Can you help us understand why there's a sidewalk around in the center?
It is not a sidewalk. Basically, the pedestrian traffic is expected to stay on the outside perimeter, if you will. But there are crosswalks within that circle area. And you have to have hardened locations on that concrete surface in order to be able to accommodate some of these larger vehicles that unfortunately don't stay within the striped areas.
So there's crosswalks that lead into the inner circle?
Along the perimeter.
Along the perimeter of it, okay.
It's basically a driving surface, if you will. It's a hardened sidewalk.
Okay.
Concrete in order to, but there is access. You can have access to that circle area.
Yeah, but we have no access right now.
Correct.
Right. And my understanding, and correct me if I'm wrong, George, is that's mostly for these trucks because they can't always make the full turn. But we also don't want to have a smaller area, would be my guess, because people just go, yeah.
Right, okay, yeah, I got you.
Is that accurate, George?
With roundabout designs, you have to encourage the operation as a roundabout.
Yeah.
And discourage it from operating as somewhat of a through lane. So that's the intent of having larger roundabouts in some of these areas rather than a very, very narrow circle, if you will, because then people would have the tendency to drive straight through them.
I'm sure that wonderful magnolia tree is not deterring anybody from straight across the middle. But hopefully we're going to address that.
Thank you, George.
Yes, sir.
Can I just speak to the magnolia tree for just a second? I'm just going to guess that someone knew that we were going to replace it and so didn't want to spend city money on a big old tree right there that we knew, they knew we were going to replace.
I'm sure, yes. Yes,
okay,
absolutely.
I'm just,
Actually,
it's, we make fun of it because it's, I hate the leaves of those magnolia trees personally, so I'm glad it's not big, but anyway.
Yeah.
All right, thank you again, George. Any other comments on this or the magnolia tree?
Oh, no.
Okay. Can I get a motion?
Motion approved.
Second.
Ms. Mazzoni?
Councilman Register?
Yes, ma'am.
Vice Mayor Jarman?
Yes, ma'am.
Councilman Casto?
Yes, ma'am.
Councilmember Coburn?
Yes.
Mayor Dedham?
Yes, ma'am. All right, city manager, is there anything to report?
No report.
Okay. Mr. Davis, is there anything to
I
report?
have one thing to report. Anytime the lawyers are able to tell you that we got you some money instead of took your money, I try to make a point of talking about that. Over the last couple of months, we've talked a lot about issues with contractors in the right-of-way, damaging our utilities, things like that, and we've tightened up on our permitting requirements, we've tightened up on that process, but we've also taken a very aggressive stance on collecting on those damage claims. We started that effort about halfway through November. At the about midpoint of December, we had collected about $30,000. just in that 1 month in claims that were outstanding. So I want to give kudos to my team for working on that and the Utilities and Public Works team who did a really a lot of work on that. And we also had an overpayment issue with some goods that we purchased, and we were able to, we weren't having a hard time getting our money back. We were able to successfully get about $275,000 back, which I was happy to deliver that
It's a
check
heck of an
to
overpayment.
Mr. Whitman just yesterday. So
Awesome.
just good news to share.
That's great.
Great, man. Fantastic. Thank
right.
you.
Great, thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Davis. Now we move on to council comments. Mr. Casto, would you like to go
Nothing for
first?
me, Mayor.
Nothing.
I'd just like to say kudos to the TDC and their team for the great New Year's Eve event. I think I've heard a lot of positive comments about the children's event, and even as an adult, I enjoy going to that as well as dancing until after midnight, so it was a good time.
All right, did you come back with any beach balls?
I'm sorry?
Did you come back with any beach balls?
No, I let the kids have them.
Okay. All right.
My kids also enjoyed that. They went to Taylor Shines, and I love that the TDC spread it out. I think Mr. Rowe was with us, so 56,000?
56,000 attendees.
Yeah, so
Wow.
really great attendance for a beach ball drop. And Mr. Whitman, we can thank him. What we saw in New Orleans in our city, we're ahead of the game for, I know that's been a question we got some emails on. That was one of the very first things you did, I believe, as a city manager, is get those bollards installed at Pier Park. So thank you for doing that. And again, kind of reiterates where I know that he's going to keep our community safe, and we're very blessed and fortunate to have somebody that's got safety first. Last meeting, I talked about, real quickly, about doing an arts council. I think I may have misspoke on how I don't want that to be a government entity. We need to stick to what we do best, and we need to create an arts alliance, more or less. So I wanted to make sure we could kind of get consensus on, I'm not really looking for a council per se. Walton County, Jennifer Steele's doing an incredible job. Songwriters Festival right now going on in Walton County, and a neat time for us. It'd be great to get some things like that on the beach, film festivals, different things, and create a feel of arts and culture from bridge to bridge to bridge. And I think if we make it a city entity, we kind of eliminate the rest of the beach, and we're kind of like isolated here in the middle and end up. So I'm looking for support, basically, from everybody up here to support that kind of initiative moving forward to create a artistic and cultural feel for the entire island. We have Bay Arts Alliance, and they mainly are in town, but we needed to really establish something that creates an identity of who we are in Panama City Beach, from bridge to bridge to bridge. That was my goal, and I hope to change direction. I hope you didn't do too much work on that, Mr. Whitman, as far as getting down the path on creating a giant council and having them sit up here and like the planning board. That was not ever my intention. My intention is to get those things funded. I know I've spoken to a lot of business owners in our community that are interested in funding and supporting that. There's a lot of interest in doing that, and I think it'd be great for our community.
I think it's a great thing to support, and it's a great thing to keep us out of.
Yes.
Yep.
Yes.
Okay. I think we're all in agreement on that one. Is that accurate? Yep. Arts Alliance.
More of an alliance, yeah.
Yeah.
New name.
Something on the island, but like Bay Arts Alliance.
Yeah.
Something that will foster and try and draw in
Yeah.
artistic endeavors.
Beach Arts Alliance.
Yes.
Beach Arts Alliance.
In Walton County, the Arts Alliance they've done there has been, they're getting an art park, they're getting all kinds of different things over there. They got, like I said, again, Songwriters Festivals going on this week, and a lot of great opportunities, and they've got that real feel, and I'm hoping that we can establish the same thing on the island and create something that we're all proud of.
Yep. I think that's a great idea. Thanks to TDC for the wonderful event. It was good. I would encourage the TDC to help us with some of the traffic direction challenges for those events at Aaron Besant. Just maybe if they could help us get a traffic plan, so our PD does a great job of being traffic engineers, but maybe we could get them out of the traffic engineering business. And so I would encourage TDC to help it. I think they did something, in my understanding, is like 2012 or something, to help clear out those parking lots and behind Pier Park when they do the events at Aaron Besant. But just give us some guidance, maybe have a traffic engineer look at it, see how we can address traffic flow for getting out. They did, the PD did a wonderful job for the midnight part of the new year, but the 8 o'clock part with the kids, when the kids thing let out, it was brand new, it was a bit of a challenge, so, you know, let the PD do what they're good at, but also encourage TDC to help us get some traffic engineering to help clear that out, better experience for everyone. I also, you know, one of the benefits to this ongoing conversation about the parking in the Bahama Beach neighborhood is I heard a lot about how the golf carts are really loud with the music. For those rental golf carts, are they allowed to rent them with speakers on them and play the loud music? Is that?
5 years ago, we had an agreement with them that they would disable their Bluetooth speakers. I know the speakers are still on it, but they had an agreement with us, a gentleman's agreement, I should say, that they were supposed to disable their Bluetooth. We did a resolution, I think it was in 2020. Yep, so.
Okay, so this is the Resolution 2134, which is the low-speed vehicle rental industry safety plan and partnership. It's a short resolution. I've read it 4 times. I don't understand it. I will say, I mean, seriously, try and understand how it works. Actually, what can we do to make sure that we're not encouraging a bunch of loud music for these rental vehicles on the beach?
We could regulate the rental portion of it. That's something we could work with legal if you give us direction on that. We also have a boombox ordinance for our residents that have slow-speed vehicles or golf carts that we can enforce outside of 25 feet. If the officer hears it, they can write them a citation. But as far as rentals, that's something I could work with legal if that's the direction, to have them remove the speakers or the stereo system completely. But that's something we could regulate with the rental companies only.
Okay, I mean, I think it's worth talking to them first. I guess they have to be renewed every year, see what's going on. But if we have ongoing issues with these rental vehicles, renting with speakers that are hooked up and playing music and disrupting neighborhoods, you know, I think we should do something about it. So I would say, I would ask.
I agree 110% on that. They got to do something on that.
Yeah, I remember there was a lady, Colleen, maybe?
Yeah, Colleen Swan.
She came and spoke about, I mean, I just want to make sure we're being fair and equitable to the people that are renting golf carts with their homes as well, and we cover them in that ordinance as well. So like if they have a golf cart and they rent their house with a golf cart, I think that was a concern of hers. With more safety, but now I want to make sure I think we're working into that or looking into that already, but that we include them in that, you know, if you rent a house and it comes with a golf cart, they should have to abide by the same restrictions, I would.
Oh, yeah, 100% agreed, Councilman.
Okay.
It should be fair across the board.
Sure.
And it's so easy these days to have mobile speakers that they bring with them. They take them to the beach, they use them in the golf carts, so it is a growing issue.
Yeah.
A lot of them light up and they're very distracting. I don't know, I don't know how many times I thought I've been getting pulled over on Front Beach Road and it's somebody's speaker going, you know, like, I'm serious. They're long and they're tubular and they're on a golf cart and I look up and there's this flashing light and I'm like, okay, well, this is not a good thing, so.
Currently, our noise ordinance is 25 foot.
Yeah, for the boom car.
We could look at lowering that too if it's falls with.
Well, I think part of the issue is the police department really doesn't have time to enforce that. You almost need a noise patrol or something.
Oh, gosh.
Well, I mean, certainly if we're dealing with the rental thing, my concern is, you know, let's try and stop it at the source rather than asking our PD to, you know, go out there and listen for extra music and everything. So address that. I'd be willing to look at the noise ordinance, but I feel like, Chief, have you been enforcing this noise ordinance once or twice, or how many times did you enforce it last year?
Oh, boy.
I guess it depends on who you talk to on how much enforcement. Yes, we enforce. We have 2 enforcement mechanisms. Obviously, we have the city ordinance and we have a state statute that also covers loud stereos. You know, obviously, we're outnumbered in Panama City Beach. You know, visitors, residents versus police officers, so we can't obviously cite everybody, but I think last time I checked, in regards to the city ordinance, we issued a little over 80 noise boom car citations within the past year, and then over 100 state violations in regards to noise ordinance, Florida statute violations. So we're nearing 200. It's an ongoing problem. Kids like to go out there and play their loud music. One thing you said I do want to understand a little bit. So in regards to the house rental, I just want to make sure we're understanding that there's LSVs and then there's golf carts. Okay.
Yeah.
So just to put that out there. But our guys are out there doing everything they possibly can to keep our streets calm and as quiet as possible in Panama City Beach. But I can answer any other questions if you have anything.
Well, I think that's good. I would love to hear anything that would make your job easier, rather than having to go out there and ticket people. If we can stop things earlier, I think it'll be a better use of everyone's time. So it doesn't have to be now.
Chief, what clarification on the LSV golf cart, or what are you trying to, I want to make sure we get that.
Sure. The last time we had this conversation in regard to the golf carts coming with, say, vacation rental.
Yes, sir.
The majority of time they're renting golf carts, which don't have the same liberties as a low-speed vehicle. So the golf cart, north and south roads, they can't get on Front Beach Road. They cannot be used on those type of roadways. Low-speed vehicles, which are tagged, and the rental LSVs, which we inspect, we are inspecting for that operation on these roadways.
So I guess the good way to look at it is if your low-speed vehicle or golf cart-esque vehicle doesn't have a tag on it, you can only stay within the neighborhood. You cannot get on any of the major roads.
That's correct. There's not a Florida plate on it. You have to stay within a neighborhood, and there's limited access on where you can operate those golf carts.
Okay.
Yep.
Right. But as far as how we capture them, as far as the speakers go, are we just doing LSVs, or are we doing golf carts in these neighborhoods? Is that we wouldn't be able to restrict anything with a golf cart, right? Because it's not registered, we don't inspect it, it's just LSVs.
The boom
noise ordinance.
The noise part, I'm sorry.
That's correct. In regards to, I guess, what is being discussed here is the inspection of said speaker on said LSV. We have mechanisms in place for permitting and inspection of current LSVs being rented, which they have to bring their LSVs and we inspect them for safety purposes.
Yes, sir.
If the council wishes and you choose, that could be included in that inspection process. But there's no mechanism in place to inspect privately owned golf carts or golf carts that would be, I guess, associated with the rental of a vacation rental. There's no inspection process that we are currently involved in for those purposes.
Great.
That's why I was more in with the noise ordinance thing, because, I mean, if you take the speakers off of an LSV that's rented, well, they're going to put a speaker on it. So.
But we have that, right?
Yes, and that's typically where we're seeing the enforcement is people carrying those big old boom boxes on their laps, or put them in the back of the golf cart or LSV and broadcasting past the 25-foot rule. We do see a lot of those violations, and those violations are enforced, and we have active strategies to enforce those violations. It's just like I said, there are far more cars and golf carts out there than our police officers. So, people think that we can't quiet Front Beach Road. We're doing the best we can.
You guys are doing tremendous. I mean, for the amount of people that are here, there's no question in my mind that you guys are doing everything in your power to be able to you guys are doing a tremendous job. That's not the question. I appreciate all you do. The question, I think, is do we stop it at the source, as well as tighten down an ordinance? But my opinion, the police department's doing an incredible job, in enforcing what they can. And to be honest with you, I'm just going to be completely honest, this beach gets extremely busy, and 150,000 people on this beach at any given time. I don't really necessarily want my officers worried about per se noise all the time when there's other major things that they need to be focused on. I think there's higher priority issues that they can be focused on. So if we can help them by stopping it at the source, I'm all behind that.
Great. Okay. Chief, how much effort do you put in inspecting these? It sounds like it's pretty tough, or a lot of time.
Well, we have two people that are dedicated currently in our special operations, and they're tasked with handling special events. They're tasked with the oversight of Chapter 7 and the inspection and oversight of our LSV operation out here regarding the people that are renting it. So they split their time between those specific duties, but at this time of the year when these LSVs have to be inspected, permitted, and then given a medallion, there is an ample amount of time during the first couple months to get that done. You know, with the numbers set by the previous councils on the amount of LSVs that we can have on the roadway, as well as the amount of LSVs that can be permitted at any given time, there is, you have to understand that we have to inspect all the LSVs that could be potentially medallion to operate on the roadway. So companies will come and present their LSVs, and we'll make sure that they're safe and follow all the safety requirements and provide them with a safety permit. All right, then we provide them with the medallions in which we can identify that they are operating under the correct number that is outlined within our ordinance. So yes, it's time consuming for our officers. We've done it for as long as I can remember.
Okay, well, I would just encourage city staff to figure out ways to make that more efficient so we don't have to dedicate officers to that. If we have to find someone to
code enforcement
or contract it out, or find someone that they can just go to. You know, in other states where they have an inspection, they just go to a third party, they do an inspection, and then that's it, and then the company pays for it. I don't know how we can make that a little bit more efficient. It seems kind of expensive to use officers for it. So I'd encourage, and if the council agrees, any thoughts from staff about how to make that more efficient, less burdensome on the on city resources?
I would just encourage that we stay, whatever you choose, or
not this year.
That we stay in the loop, because there is information that we have to get from these specific operationals that we need to know for enforcement purposes as well as identification purposes. If these things get stolen, these things come up missing, at least we have the information readily accessible to us, instead of us having to track a lot of this down.
Okay.
And as of right now, what I'm hearing from you, Chief, is during the slow months, you've got ample officers to be able to do this and knock it out.
I don't know if we have any slow months anymore. I mean, I wish we did.
Excuse me, I'm sorry, I apologize.
There are a lot of people here for
the moderate months.
New Year.
You know, during these first few months of the year, they are prep months for the season, you know, our staff is capable of handling these challenges. But, you know, as the city grows, you know, so do additional challenges that they also have to face. So, you know, I think a strategy, 5-year strategy or whatever it may be, is understandable, and I could work that with the city manager if that's what you're asking.
Yeah, just figure out, in my opinion, I think if we can make it a little bit more efficient so that you're not having to dedicate officers to do this, but you get what you need out of it.
Yep.
You know, I mean, someone else can go look at if both blinkers work, if there's no speaker on it, and you know, your officers don't necessarily have to do that. Unless if you find it valuable, you know, that's fine. Just come tell us that you find that time valuable. But
we're here to serve at the pleasure of the council and the citizens, and we'll do whatever we need to keep Panama City Beach safe.
All right, thank you.
Do we collect a fee for that inspection?
We do.
Yes.
We do. So, okay.
Yeah, and as it's a fee, I guess it just has to cover that inspection, that's it. So it's not like we're making money on it.
Can I just clarify the direction? So is the direction that you want us to come back to you with regulations regarding limiting the availability of speakers on rental LSVs?
Yes.
Correct.
Thank you.
Okay. And then look for efficiencies for this inspection process. But, okay. All right.
Okay.
Thank you. And I can talk to you after the meeting about it. And I want to thank everyone for the robust discussion today. I tried to make it short, Paul. I tried to make it short. I didn't do a good job. And I just, you know, thank God we're all working together, and ask Him to bless us and lead us and guide us as we continue to do work for the visitors, part-time residents, full-time residents, everyone here in Panama City Beach. Thank you, and see you at the next meeting.
Thank you.